Welcome everyone, Dylan Gemelli here today with a brand new video for you, and today I am actually going to give you the list of my top 5 favorite SARMs. But before we get into that, just a big shout out and thank you to everybody out there watching and supporting the channel. I cannot thank you enough. If you haven't yet, please like, sub, share. Any interaction that you're having with the channel, comments, it's totally helping us to grow. It is greatly appreciated, and it's allowing me to produce more and more content for you each and every day. Also, today's video is sponsored by our favorite sponsor, letsgetchecked.com. Now, if you're not familiar, letsgetchecked.com specializes in at-home blood testing, and when I tell you they are the best, they are the industry's best. Now, the process is seamless and it's easy. Go to the website. Actually, it's letsgetchecked.com, but go down to the description below, click on my link. It'll take you right there. Use the coupon code Gemelli30, and it's going to save you 25% off your entire order. Go through and pick out whatever test you like. They have it all for male and female. They've got full hormonal panels, general wellness testing. They've got COVID testing, sexual health. They have it all. Order whatever you like. They're going to ship it to you very, very quickly. You get the tests, provide the sample, ship it right back. You're going to get your results generally within about 24 hours. They've got doctors and nurses there to answer questions all day, every day. So you have that right at your fingertips. It's seamless, it's easy, it's discreet, and it's extremely cost effective. Let'sGetChecked.com. Coupon code Gemelli30 is going to save you 25% off. So, all right. Now, remember when I talk about the Dylan Gemelli list, they're very subjective. They're my list. Well, this one especially, this is just what I prefer. It's hard for me because I love SARMs just in general, and I love them all. But, everybody's got their own preferences, their own goals, and like they change over time. I probably would have a different list a few years ago. It'd probably be pretty similar. But anymore, and the older I get, my goals change and aspirations or things that I want or whatever. My body, do I want to go through certain side effects that maybe I would have tolerated before? There's a lot that goes into it. I'm 40 now, and not that you turn 40 and shit changes or like you start, but every year things are different. The injury's a little bit harder to recover from. You don't want to deal with as much. You're just getting to that point where you just kind of fed up and it's like, I don't even want to deal with it. I don't, and that's kind of where you get with certain things. I think I've done pretty good in general overall with that kind of attitude, but there are things where I'm just like, you know what, fuck, I don't even need this anymore. Or, I'm not even going to let that bother me because at the end of the day, does it really matter? That type of mentality. So it can be good and bad. But anyway, so on my list here, I had a hard time because it's like, man, there's so many of these that I want on there and I don't want to leave them off. And it just, so what I did here, I just got really nitpicky because even ordering them, in a certain order was not easy for me at all. But I did my best here. So the one that I left off, plenty of people are going to be like, well, why would you leave that off? I'm going to explain to you why. So, SR 9009. And it's pretty, I had to, once again, it's like everything's so razor thin, and it's like, why would you leave this off and the other? It's so similar to one that's obviously on my list if anybody follows me and knows me. And being that SR 9009 has to be so frequently dosed, and it does very similar to what the other one is that's on my list that you probably already know that I'll get to, but it's not quite as good. And you can make that argument with a couple on the list, but regardless, it's my fucking list, and that's what I did with it. But, I love SR 9009. It's so suitable to okay, so I'm an endurance runner, and everything that I'm based around is cutting, staying in like a thinner, more comfortable, light position for me. And that's just what my goals are. I want lean muscle growth and things, but I'm not trying to get overly big at all. I don't like to gain, more than 5 or 6 pounds on a cycle anymore if I'm even going that high. I don't feel comfortable there, and I don't like it. Before I ran cycles, shit, I at least wanted 10 pounds out of them. I do not want that anymore. If I do at some point, well, then I'll do it. But right now, it just doesn't fall in line with my goals. And SR 9009 is perfect because it helps boost metabolism, which obviously helps to keep me cut, although my metabolism is already extremely high based upon the output and work that I do. And so it's really suitable for me there. And obviously, any help with endurance, I'm going to gladly take. being that, it no matter how much I run every day or do cardio every day, it still gets tough mentally some days for any but human, especially when you're stressed with work and things that I have going on and yada, 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 which is life. I'm not complaining. I'm just telling you, the situation. Some days you just don't feel like it. I do it regardless, but some days as you get older, especially, it's a little bit harder to just, luckily I'm so strong-willed mentally that I make myself do it those days, but it certainly don't hurt to have help with endurance. So, but unfortunately I had to leave it off the list. So number 5 for me is MK2866. It is, look, the first ever SARMS cycle I ran was MK2866 and S4. And I will never forget it, and it changed my whole life because it got me into the SARMS world and to learn so much and make it such a big part of my life. The healing aspect of MK2866 for me personally is what I love the most. The times, especially when I've started to lift a lot heavier, or the more you run and do athletic things with basketball and tennis and things that I do, you get a lot of nagging injuries, especially the more wear and tear in your body the older you get. And with the running especially, I'm messed up all the time, and it's just the most little nagging thing, but it can just be just a headache to deal with. And 2866 has always been so helpful there, and I just love how versatile it is. It doesn't do anything so drastic, but it does so many different things. And that's kind of like why for some people, they don't appreciate it or understand it. I truly, truly grasp and understand and appreciate everything that it does, and it's more suitable for me. A lot of people will go, well, why would I use 2866 when I could just use LGD? Well, several reasons. You're going to cut more with MK2866 while still building lean muscle. It's got way more healing to it. And you just feel, I don't know, because I can't scientifically say, oh, there's some feel good. But if anybody that's ran it knows, you just feel really good on it. The side, it's got less suppression than LGD, and there's nothing wrong with LGD. I'm just saying a lot of people go, why not use this? Well, there's a lot of reasons why. And you could argue for LGD and other reasons if you're looking for what it does. But I love 2866. It's always done extremely well. It's one of those that's just universally, men and women do extremely well with it and love it and normally tolerate it quite well. Low side effects, great results. Love MK2866. And I almost had it number 4, but I have ACP 105 there. I love what ACP can do. The one reason why ACP is lower, because I would have it at 2, but you can develop headaches with it at times early on, and that can be detrimental, and that alone made me drop it. I have to look for a reason, that alone, because that's not worth it to me to deal with. But I still, man, the results, and not everybody gets that type of thing, but I didn't feel as good on it as I did on some others. Overall, I love the results though. I mean, it's the muscle hardening, and you got the fat loss, and you build endurance, you get strength. Everything to love about what you get out of it, truly. But that kind of separates it for me, and I feel like the number 2, maybe I respond better to, and I'll explain to you why I don't want to just give them away. They're very similar in what they do, and I'll tell you that. But there's a reason I separated them, because some people go, well, I'll get to that. Number 3 could easily be number 2, but I have a soft spot in my heart for number 2. Number 3 is RAD 140. I did a video on, is RAD the new king of SARMs? There's a reason. RAD does everything. It's really hard to not like anything about it. Some people will say that they've had hair loss with it. I can get why you wouldn't like that. It's very rare. You have to be prone to male pattern baldness, and some people have had some elevated liver enzymes with it, but it's not totally common, but it's definitely possible. And there's some suppression there, but I'm on TRT. I don't got to worry about that. It's never hurt my liver values at all. For me, and this is why I'm going there. For some, it may not be the same, but man, RAD 140 does it all. And when you got something that can do all of that, still help with endurance, keep you cut, keep you fit, keep you strong, keep you gaining muscle, just all of it, giving you great strength. RAD 140 was meant to be a replacement, for testosterone and to use as TRT. Clearly, that is not the case, or nobody's going to argue that. At least I hope not. It's suppressive on that front, but it's modeled or intended to be similar to testosterone, and you can see some similarities in terms of results without the estrogen conversion. But it's really the king of SARMs. It's the most searched SARM. It's the highest selling SARM. It is the favorite of everybody out there, or at least majorities. I shouldn't say everybody. I hate to say things like everybody. That's just, I don't like that. Most seem to gravitate toward it based on the numbers, based on the feedback, and I can understand why. Number 2 was S4, and I said I have a soft spot in my heart for it, and what I was saying was, you could argue, well, doesn't S4 have the vision side effect? Would you rather have the headache with the ACP or the vision with the S4? I'd rather have the vision with the S4, personally. I don't like headaches at all. At all. Not that I love my vision, possibly seeing a little bit of yellow tint, but one, it didn't affect me that bad. I got up to 100 milligrams, and my toleration was quite well every time I used it. 2, I actually enjoyed the headlight thing, the trippy headlight thing when it would do that when I first used it, but it was very minimal. I'm not a nighttime driver. It didn't affect me in any sort of way. It didn't, whatever. The point is why I love S4. The muscle hardening, the vascularity, and the strength, and just that lean, clean muscle. It's so similar to what you're going to get with Anavar and Winstrol. Not that strong, not saying it's Anavar or Winstrol, but clearly those are my favorite kind of compounds. So it makes a whole lot of sense that S4 would be there. I have always, since the first time I used it, and I could see muscle hardening within a couple days of S4, I was like, I immediately knew I was going to like it. But what I get from it personally is exactly with my kind of goals. I want to be as hard as I can muscle-wise. I want to have as much vascularity. I want to have a ton of definition, and I want nice popped lean muscles. I don't have that right now going on because I'm not really training for it. But that is my kind of aesthetic. You go back and look at me in the past, it falls in line with exactly where I want to be and what I generally aim for when I'm going into that mode. It just coincides beautifully. But I can't put it number 1 because number 1 is GW 501516. Clearly, generally, mostly based on my, love and continuous, output of endurance exercise. And it has, from the moment I took it the first time, such a dramatic effect. It doesn't have the same dramatic effect now in terms of what I can see on my runs in general, and a lot of that is just simply because of like injuries. But you can definitely feel your VO2 max rising, and you're like, for me, I do about 65-70 minutes of a run. I have to stop about 30-35 minutes in for a multitude of reasons, but a lot of it is injuries to my toe, and a lot of times like doorbell rings, phone rings, or I got to go pee or something. I have a treadmill at home and I do all this, but that's generally where I stop. And it's not like I never, people will be amazed I can talk to you while I run, or I'm doing elliptical. My heart rate barely rises, so it's not that I'm tired, I just have to stop. But I can tell the difference in terms of the wind, that I have or have not. And oftentimes that you just don't want to stop when you're on GW. You're like, I don't want to stop now because this is like, it feels good. I'm not saying it's like it feels too easy. It just feels good. It's like I'm cruising. I don't, whereas a lot of those other days, it's like, well, I kind of want to fucking stop anyway. If I'm being honest, I could keep going all day, but do I want to? I don't know. But you just kind of want to. But that, and then the help with the blood pressure, the help with the cholesterol, the help with the metabolism, I just have, it's always been atop my list. And it was always the best selling and most popular until RAD 140 took hold of that. GW still number 2 easily, but it's not for everybody, and that's totally cool. And it's like, okay, so why did you leave certain things off? YK11 I find to be absolutely awesome. I do. But there's methylation in YK11, which I also don't like to deal with, and that can also make you feel tired, especially if it hits your liver. It's not a high amount, but I don't like that at all. S23 has, and once again, I'm on TRT, but that severe suppression, and I'm not looking for that kind of like total overall size. I love it. The S23 is great. The LGDs are more bulking. MK677, I just don't do well with those kind of compounds in terms of the water, and I don't care what, I am not willing to take on water weight at all. I don't care. I don't want things to convert to estrogen, so that's kind of out for me. but I am the hugest advocate of it and what it can do and what I've seen it do. It's just not for me personally. Where else? Oh, LGD 3033. That one, that's hard to leave off the list too, to be honest with you, because it's like a bulking compound that's still like a cutting compound almost. Because you can do all of this and stay so dry. It's hard for me to leave that off, but it doesn't totally fall in line with what my wants and everything else. But I find so many things that I like about all of these, but no matter what, no matter how many things you like, you always got your favorites. I got a whole entire game room in there of all old school systems and games, hundreds of games. I could tell you I like them all, but I got my favorites, It's just like we could go car shopping or go to obviously shoe shopping. I fucking love all of these, but I got my favorites, So that's just how it is. So those are my top 5 favorite SARMs. Let me know in the comments what yours are, maybe why. It's always cool to have these kind of discussions just to see like, oh shit, so-and-so likes this or that or whatever. It's always cool to hear that. So interact, leave the comments. I respond to everybody. So that being said, stay tuned for plenty more to come. Dylan Gemelli, signing off.